Hello, welcome to our unique learning system math lesson. My name is Charlotte Lucas. I am an autism low incidence mentor teacher with Richmond Public Schools, and I am delighted to be able to work with you today. Our math lesson today is a geometry lesson titled Car Wash Fundraiser. First, we will do vocabulary related to the topic. Then we will use models to solve word problems. We have a lot to do, so let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is some vocabulary. And this particular lesson is a very quick and simple lesson. It is the geometry, but it has some very important rules. Geometry has a lot of rules, and you have to follow the rules. And if you learn these rules early, it'll save you a lot of stress as you move on and on. So let's learn all about these geometry words for today, and then we'll practice a little, okay? All right, the first word is plane. So what is a plane? I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so that, not for you doll babies, for me, because Miss Lucas cannot see. It is really sad. All right, so the word is plane. The word is plane. A plane is a flat surface that goes on forever in all directions. Now that is a very difficult concept to understand, but that is the way geometry is set up. You have to understand that if there's nothing to stop these lines, if there is nothing to stop a line, then that line goes on forever in that same direction, no matter what. So a plane, the point for these is that it's a flat surface that goes on forever in all directions. So this plane looks small, but it could be extremely big, the size of a building. And of course, bigger than that because it goes on forever in the same directions. Okay, now point. A point is a dot that represents a place. Okay, so this looks like a decimal point, doesn't it? Well, in language arts, it looks like a period. When you're dealing with money, it looks like a decimal. And right now in geometry, it's a point. And this point represents a place. So when you want to, if you're in geometry and you want to put, like, especially if you're doing planes, then you will put a point on a plane, and that will be what it represents, a place. Okay. The next one is a line. A line. Look at this line. It looks like an arrow with a line with two arrowheads. And I'm going to try to use a straw. And what you have to imagine is that these have arrows, the ends have arrows on them. Okay, so a line goes on forever in both ways. In other words, there's nothing to stop this line from going on forever in the same direction. There's nothing there to stop it. This line goes on forever. All right. So you just remember, it usually has an arrow to indicate that it goes on forever. And a line segment is a part of a line. So you have a line that goes on forever. How do you get a segment of it, a part of it? You put some dots, some points on it, and it stops the line. The line has been stopped because we have a point here and a point here. Okay, a part of a line with a start point and an end point. It starts here. This is the point that it starts. It ends here. This is the point that it ends. Okay, so a line segment is a part of a line. Okay, and then we have a slope. A slope is how steep or tilted. So this line has a straight slope. This is a tilt. Okay, this is a really steep. You know, when you go upstairs, there's some stairs that are very steep, and it hurts your legs to walk up. But if they have a gradual slant like that, it's a little bit easier to work with. So the slope is how steep or how tilted a line is, and the direction it's going. Okay, so you can have a line. This is a slope. Okay, here's a different slope. Okay, there's another slope. All right. I think the part that gets us in geometry is that going on forever thing. A line goes on forever. You have to remember that. That's geometry. We have to accept it for what it is. Okay, so now we have intersecting lines. And to have intersecting lines, you have to have two lines, of course. Intersecting lines. They cross at one point. And here's for my fingers are the point. They cross at one point. They can make a right angle, but most of the time they don't necessarily have to. Okay? And they do not have the same slope. For instance, this line is going in this direction, it's tilted in this direction, and this line is tilted in the other direction. They don't have the same slope. They come together, but they do not have the same slope. Their slopes are going in different directions. Okay, the next one is perpendicular lines. And what I like about perpendicular lines, you have to remember this. Perpendicular lines are perfect, what we call perfect right angle. Right? They have to. Remember, intersecting lines could be perpendicular, but a perpendicular line always has to have a right angle. They come together, they cross at one point, they always make right angles. Always, always, always. Okay? And they do not have the same slope. One is going in this direction, that's the way it slopes, and the other one is going in another direction. That's the way it slopes. All right? Perpendicular always, always, always has to have a right angle. Now, parallel lines. Remember, lines go on forever. So these two lines will go on forever in the same direction, and they will never cross. They could go all the way around the world and this like this. They will never cross. They never make right angles, and they do not have a slope. I'm sorry, they have the same slope. Okay? So they always have the same slope. They're always going no matter which way. They're only parallel if they have the same slope. Okay? They'll never intersect. Parallel lines. All right. We've learned a lot of good stuff here. All right. Let's look at this. We're going to do some practice. I have to move things down and around. And again, Miss Lucas cannot read this little writing. So I'm going to magnify it a little bit so I can read it. You probably are not having any problems, but Miss Lucas cannot read it. All right, let's go. This is a practice for us. It says, look at the point on the check. This is the check. We talked about that in our story. Our character got a job, earned a check. Okay, look at the point on the check. Put a point on the other corner of the check. So remember, a point is just a dot. Okay, so we want to put a point on the other corners. So this is not a point. This is a line segment right here. And this is a line. It goes on forever. So this is a point. So we can move this point to the corner. That's a corner. We can move this one to a corner. We're just following instructions, but we have to move the correct thing. We have to move the correct, what we're instructed to do. We have to do it correctly, okay? So let's put it on the corner. Corner intersects. How about that? That works. All right. All right. So the first one we had, it said, look at the point in the corner. We were looking at this point. Put a point on the other corners of the check, and we put points on the other corners. Very nice. Look at the line segment. Okay. Remember, a line segment is a line, but it has a beginning and an ending. Begins, ends. Begins, ends. Okay. So if we're looking in this box, we cannot pull out a line. We have to pull out a line segment. So this will not do. But this is a line segment, but it's not going in the same direction, right? Oh, we can make the one that goes in the same direction. We need to put 3 here. So this one goes in the same direction as that one. So let's try another one. Let's make this line segment, and then one going in the same direction as that. All right. Excellent. I think we got that right. This one, it says, look at the line on the check and make 3 more lines on the other sides. So this is a line. It has 2 arrows on the end, and that means that those lines go on forever. Now, it cannot be a line segment that we use. This is a line segment. This is a point. We cannot use those. We must use lines. So let's make a line opposite this line. Let's put this line in place. And then on the other side, let's put this line in place and this line in place. We're following directions. We're doing just what we've been told to do. I think we got it right. We worked with points, we worked with line segments, and we worked with lines. Very good, very good. This is what we call an easy A day. This is what we call an easy A day because we're going to get all of these right. We've just got to remember what types of lines we're working with. It says, look at the black line on the check. So here's the check, and this is a line. It is not a line segment. It is a line. Make another line that goes through the blue dot and is perpendicular to the black line. Okay? It has to go through the blue dot. Remember, a perpendicular line can meet at any point. A perpendicular line, it has, first of all, it has to go through this blue dot. So let's put the line through the blue dot. It can't do like this. It has to go through it. So it has to go through it, and it has to be perpendicular. So there they meet. They cross. Make another line that goes through the point and is perpendicular to the black line. So this would not have been correct. We could not have done that. Okay, because first of all, that wouldn't have been perpendicular. That would have been parallel. And the other point is that it did not go through that blue point. So we have to follow the instructions. Okay, this one, it says, look at the black line on the check, this one right here. Make another line that goes through the blue point and is parallel. Remember here, this is perpendicular. It intersects. Right here, it has to be parallel. Parallel lines never, ever intersect. First, it has to go through the blue dot, and it has to be parallel. So we could not have done this. We couldn't have done this because they would not be parallel because they don't have the same slope. So we had to put a parallel line in. Now, these 2 lines are parallel. They have the same slope. They're going in the same direction, but they'll never meet. Excellent. Now, this is a map. We used maps the other day. This is a map. Let's read what the instructions are. Miss B's class is getting supplies for the car wash fundraiser. They make a map of where they go. So on the map, and this is a chart, graph paper. They've made it into a map. Here's the bank. Here's the office supply store. Here's the department store. And here's the dollar store. So these will probably be the paths or the streets that are on the map, okay? So let's see. It says Randy starts at the department store and walks to the dollar store. Put a line segment on the map between the department store and the dollar store. So here's the department store and here's the dollar store. And we have to put a line segment. And remember, a line segment is a line, but it has a beginning point and an ending point. It stops. The line stops. It begins and it ends. So this would not be a line segment. This would be a line segment, and it needs to go between the department store and the dollar store. We have to do it right. We got it right. See that green box? That means we got it right. Excellent. Let's go on to the next one. All right, it says Mrs. B's class is getting supplies for the car wash fundraiser. They make a map of where they go. So here we are again. This is a map on a grid. The bank, the office supply store, department store, and the dollar store. Okay, what are our instructions? Mary Beth is at the office supply store, which is here. She looks both ways before she crosses the street. So this is the street, okay? Put a line on the street next to the office supply store. Put a line on the street next to the office supply store. So this is the office supply store. And we need a line. Now, this is not a line. This is a line segment because it has 2 points on it that stop the line. This is a point. This is a line. It says put a line. All right. Now the line goes on forever. It doesn't stop. There's nothing to stop it. So we have to put a line on the street next to the office supply store. So here's the office supply store. Let's put a line. Let's see if we get it right. Got it right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for guiding me through that. Excellent. Okay. Let's see what this is. Danielle, start at the top. Mrs. B's class is getting supplies for the car wash fundraiser. They make a map of where they go. So here we have the map again on a grid. These dark blue lines are the streets, the bank, office supply store, department store, and Dollar Tree. What are our instructions? Danielle gets change for the car wash fundraiser from the bank. Put a point on the map where the bank is. So this time we just need a point. So here's a point right here. Should we use this point? Well, we really can't use that point. That point is part of a line segment. It tells us where the line begins and where the line ends. So we really can't use this. This is a line. We need a point, and of course, this is our point. Put a point on the map where the bank is. So let's move this point to where the bank is. Excellent. We got that right. So that was a very good practice on line segments, lines, and points. Let's see if we can work with what types of lines we have. It says Mrs. B is driving to the car wash fundraiser. Her GPS shows 3 different routes she can take. The lines on the GPS shows roads. Are the lines parallel, perpendicular, or intersecting? So let's look at this and we'll make some decisions before we actually find out, key in to find out what the answer is. It says, to help us make a decision, these are the kinds of questions we have to ask ourselves because these are the conditions that determine what type of line it is. It says, do the lines cross at one point? Do these lines cross at one point? These lines will go on forever in that direction and they will what? Never cross. So the answer is no. They do not cross at one point. Okay. Do the lines make right angles? And you remember what a right angle is. In order for the line to be a right angle, they have to cross perfectly like this and make a right angle like that. And usually, if lines make a right angle, the geometry people will put a block in there like that to let us know that this angle is a right angle by putting a block right there. So it says, do the lines make right angles? Well, in order to make right angles, they have to intersect. These lines do not intersect, so they do not make right angles. Okay? Do the lines have the same slope? And we talked about slope. Slope has to do with the direction that they're going in. So this is a slope and this is a slope. These two do not have the same slope. Okay? This is a slope and that is a slope. They do not have the same slope. Here, they have the same slope. They're going in the same direction. I'm going to say yes because they have the same slope. Now, you tell me if the lines do not cross, do not make right angles because of course they're not crossing, and the lines have the same slope, what type of lines will we have? Will it be perpendicular? Will it be an intersect? Or will it be parallel? Let's see. I'm going to go with parallel. Excellent. We got that right. Excellent, excellent. All right, let's try another one. This one, it says, these two lines intersect. Do you see the point where they intersect right here? Like this, they intersect. And then look at that box that's been placed there. At this angle, there's a box there. What does that mean when there's a box at this angle? That means it's what? It's a right angle. Whenever you see this box added on an angle, that means that that is a right angle, 90 degrees. All right, so let's see. Let's see what are the conditions. It says, do the lines cross at one point? Yeah, there's the point. They've crossed at that point. So the answer is yes. Do the lines make right angles? Well, yeah, there's that right angle. Whenever you see that box, that means that that angle is a right angle. The answer is yes. Do the lines have the same slope? And remember, we talked about slope. It's the tilt, how steep it is. Do they have the same slope? No, they don't have the same slope. So let's make a decision. If the lines cross at a point and they do make a right angle and they do not have the same slope, what are we going to call those lines? Have you decided yet before I pick it out? We're going to call that what? Perpendicular. Yes, they are perpendicular lines. Remember, they have to be perfect, perpendicular, 90 degrees. Excellent. All right, let's try the next one. All right, it says, do the lines, we're looking at these lines right here. Do the lines cross at one point? Yes, there's the point. That's where they cross. Okay. Do the lines make right angles? Now we're looking at these angles. This is an angle right here. That's an acute angle. This is an angle. Look at this angle. Ooh, that's an obtuse angle right there. All right. And then here's another acute angle. But is there a right angle here? There's no right angle. And another thing, if there were a right angle there, there would be a box. So do the lines cross at one point? Yes. Do the lines make right angles? No. Do the lines have the same slope? We talked about that again. I like to show you because I'm kind of loving these straws. Same slope, different slopes. Same slopes, different slopes. Okay? Do these lines have the same slope? No. Excellent. So these lines are what? What are we going to call those? We have parallel, perpendicular. What are we going to call these lines? They're intersecting. Very nice. Excellent. Well, I'm going to tell you, you did a very good job with this. Let's take a second to review what we've learned. Let me see if I can find our beginning again. Let's see what we've done today. We did a lot. But these are the types of things in geometry that you have to be very, very sure about. Be very sure about. This is very simple. It's an easy A. Just be sure about it. We got a lot of practice in. Okay, a plane, hard concept to understand, but just remember the rules. It's flat and it goes on forever because there are no what? No points. There are intersections, but there are no points. It goes on forever. Okay. And what is a point? It's just a dot that represents a place. Make a dot with a pencil. All right, a line. A line goes on forever in both ways. And a line in geometry has to have an arrow here and an arrow here. An arrow on both ends means that it is a line, okay? A line segment, it's a part of a line with a start point and an end point. So if this is a line, then this could be the start point, this could be the end point. Now it's a what? Line segment, okay? And then we talk about slope. It says how steep or tilted a line is and the direction that it's going. So this is tilted this way, tilted that way, tilted like this. Those are slopes. All right, let's look at our other definitions that we have. We talked about intersecting lines. They cross at one point. They can make a right angle. They can, okay? But they do not have the same slope. One is going sloping this direction. One is sloping in this direction, but they're coming together at a point, okay? Perpendicular lines, they cross at one point. They always make a right angle. They can't be like that or like that. They have to be perfect right angles. All right? They always make a right angle and they do not have the same slope. One is going this way, one is going that way. Do not have the same slope. And then parallel lines. Parallel lines never cross, never intersect. Okay? They do not make right angles and they have the same slope. They always have the same slope. Think about a railroad track. You see a railroad track, those two tracks are set like this and they can take turns, but they're always the same distance apart, always the same slope on the railroad track. Okay, well, boys and girls, you've done a great job. We learned about parallel, perpendicular, and intersecting lines, and we learned about points and lines and line segments. You did a great job. Excellent. And next time, maybe I'll have an assessment for you. We'll check it out. Bye-bye. Thank you.